Okay, today we are going to study about the fungi that is called as Basidiomycetes, or it is otherwise called as the club fungi. Let's start. They are the most advanced fungi. Yes, these club fungi are regarded as the most advanced fungi and the most commonly found fungi in the world. So this type of fungi, Basidiomycetes, is most commonly seen fungi. It is mostly available in this world. The fructification, the fruiting bodies of this particular fungi is very large, very large. For example, mushroom, toadstool, puffballs or bracket fungi. These are the basic examples of this particular fungi that is called as the club fungi. Why it is club fungi? Because the basidia, it looks like a club-like structure, for which we do call them as a club fungi. Let's start. Basidiomycetes are among the best decomposer. This is a very important question. Basidiomycetes are the best decomposer of cellulose or lignin, that is wood. So Basidiomycetes are the best decomposer of wood. They are able to decompose both cellulose as well as lignin because it is the only fungi which can decompose plant, which can decompose cellulose and lignin, which are very hard structure. Yes, lignin is the most hardest part and it is highly metabolized and highly degraded by this Basidiomycetes, but it cannot be degraded by other fungi or any bacteria because lignin is the hardest substance of the plant cell wall. So as lignin is the hardest substance of the plant cell wall, it cannot be decomposed by other fungi or bacteria, but only Basidiomycetes is only that group of fungi which can decompose this particular wood or cellulose. Ganoderma is regarded as the largest fungi, and this fungi is found to be present on decaying wood. So this fungi grows on the decaying wood, on standing tree. On standing tree or decaying wood, this fungi can grow. So this tree is standing, or suppose the wood is fallen, wood is present, they can grow on the fallen wood. So this is the important character of this particular fungi that is called as Ganoderma. And the most important part, it is the most important point of Basidiomycetes, that motile structure is totally absent in its life cycle. Means they don't have flagella. They don't have flagella. No flagella in its life cycle. So motile structure is totally absent. And the mycelium are again of two types, primary myceliums and the secondary myceliums. The primary mycelium is very short-lived and the secondary mycelium is the actual mycelium which is long-lived in the life cycle. So this particular fungi, Basidiomycetes, we find the mycelium or the hypha is of two types, but normally the hypha myceliums are septate. Yes, so as they are septate, because we have already discussed that all higher fungi are septal fungi, so these are the septum present. So as these are septum present, the septal fungi, and as septal fungi, these are uninucleated. These are uninucleated, but the cell is, the hypha is multicellular, but the hypha is multicellular. Got it? Now let's move. Primary mycelium is called as monokaryotic mycelium because in that particular mycelium we find, suppose this is the hypha present, in this particular hypha what we find, single type of nucleus is present. Only single type of nucleus present. So it is called as monokaryotic hypha because single type of nucleus present. But in secondary mycelium we find dikaryotic phase is present, means two type of nucleus present. Two different nucleus or different hypha is found to be present. So this is the difference between monokaryotic and that is called as dikaryotic, or that is secondary mycelium. Got it? So in monokaryotic mycelium, which is regarded as primary mycelium, so primary myceliums are monokaryotic myceliums and they have very short-lived lifespan. They are very short-lived in the lifespan. So these monokaryotic hypha or this primary mycelium, they reproduce asexually by means of spores, like Oidia is a type of spores, Conidia is a type of spores, Pycnospores. So these are three different spores produced by this primary mycelium to reproduce, and the mode of reproduction is always asexual mode of reproduction. So we have already discussed how the spores are produced, because we know very well the spores exogenous, means they will have a stalk present. From the stalk we'll find the spores will be generated. So these are different structure spores. In Oidia we find the spores as square shape like, in Conidia we find spherical, and this is also spherically elongated, and they do have a stalk. They do have a stalk and these are the spores present, and these are the spores present. So the mode of reproduction in primary mycelium, that is monochromatic cell, that is mostly by means of asexual mode of reproduction. The secondary mycelium is a long-lived mycelium and is a dominant phase in the life cycle of this particular Basidiomycetes, because it is a dominant phase in the life cycle. What happens? In secondary mycelium, we find a new stage present, that is called as dikaryotic stage present. So two nucleus are present in a single hypha. So in a single hyphal cell, we find two types of nucleus present, and this phase is called as the dikaryotic phase. And normally in this secondary mycelium, the mycelium is profusely branched. It is profusely branched mycelium. But in monochromatic, it is not branched. They are singly present. They are not so branched in monochromatic. That is in primary mycelium. But in secondary mycelium, they are highly septate. Yes, the septum is present. As the septum is present means they are highly septate and they are profusely branched, highly branched. Normally, what happens? In the septum, we find a special type of septum is present and a special type of opening present. Suppose this is the hypha present. Suppose this is the hypha present. Got it? So within the hypha, we find this type of central pore. This is the hyphal cell present here. This is the cell present. So this type of septum is called as Dolipore septum, barrel sept. So the septum contains central pore, and the central pore is barrel shaped in structure. As they are barrel shaped in structure, outgrowth, they have certain outgrowths. So this is called as dolipores. So the septum contains special pores, that is called as dolipores, do helps in exchange of materials within the cell or within the hyphal wall. Got it? So this is the modification Basidiomycetes structure. And we find that a handle like outgrowth is present, as we have discussed. There is a handles are present, these handles are present, and this present, these handle outgrowths are present, and this outgrowth do helps in formation of this septum. So this is here we find how the Dolipore septum is present. Let's see that this part is the Dolipore septum pore present. This is the extension present. This is the extension present. Yes, this is the hand like structure present. This is the Dolipore septum. And here we find parenchysomes are this is the membrane like structure present, a slide, and here we don't find any cytoplasm present. So this outer boundary present, and this outer boundary is called as parenthosome. And here we find they are profusely branched septum. They are profusely branched septum, and from the branch we find this type of basidia present, and this basidium that contains four external stalk, that is called as sterigmata. These are called as sterigmata. From sterigmata we find Basidiospores are present, or the sexual spores are present. So here the Basidiospores are exogenous in the origin. And each Basidiospores contains a small pore, that is called a germer pore. And within the Basidiospores we find a uninucleated present. And here we find this is the sterigmata, and the Basidiospores both are joined by a connection that is called as apicules. So apicules is the connection between sterigmata and that is Basidiospores. So this is the structure of this particular Basidiomycetes. Got it clear? Now let's move. So whenever we move this particular Basidiomycetes, for example, normally suppose this is the hypha present. So when they undergo sexual reproduction, for example, suppose they undergo sexual reproduction. Got it? So normally sexual reproduction, what happens? Two different hypha. Suppose this is the hypha cluster of different stem. Another hypha came and go for somatogamy. So this type of union of hypha is called as somatogamy. Got it? So here both the hypha, this particular part get fused. When this particular part get fused, so this hypha comes into this, or this nucleus go to there. So after that what happen? We get a hypha, we get a mycelium where we find two different nucleus are present. Got it? So when two different nucleus are present here of different strain, and this is called as dikaryotic phase. This is called as dikaryotic phase. So this phase is called as dikaryotic phase because two different nucleus are present. Now what happens? These nucleus start dividing mitotically, and after division they transfer one of the nucleus to its adjacent cell. So through this adjacent cell, one of the nucleus is transferred to here and through here, and this connection is called as the clamp connection. and this connection is called as the clamp connection. So as a result, what happens after distribution, the single monokaryotic all becomes dikaryotic. The uninucleate all becomes dikaryotic nucleus. Got it? So this is the stage by which one of the dikaryotic nucleus, one of the dikaryotic cell converts the other cell of the hypha by clamp connections and by cell division into a whole secondary mycelium, and this mycelium is the secondary mycelium and is the advanced mycelium and is the long lived mycelium. Got it? So this transfer is by means of connection, that is called as clamp connections. Clear? But in Ascomycetes we have crozier connection, but here we find that is called as clamp connections. So secondary mycelium can penetrate in the soil or inside the wood by means of special structure that is called as sclerotia rhizome. For example, suppose this is the wood is present. Suppose the wood part is present. Suppose the wood is present. So normally what happen? Now this secondary mycelium, they will penetrate into this wood by special type of extension. And this special type of extension that acts as a root-like structure is called as rhizomorph. Got it? So this part is called as what? It is called as rhizomorph. So these structures are called as rhizomorph, or they have modified sclerotia present. So they act as a root-like structures. These are called rhizomorph. Got it? So this is the hypha present and they penetrate into the wood, helps in anchorage and also helps in absorbing nutrition from the host cells if present. Got it? Clear? So this is how we find that the secondary mycelium is the most advanced form and they can anchorage with the help of sclerotia or with the help of rhizomorphs within the any host cells, either inside the soil or into the wood, and thereby drag what they will drag. They drag the nourishment and helps in anchorage and structure. Got it? Clear? Now the dikaryotic phase of the secondary mycelium may multiply by means of asexual reproduction, that is called as spores. So here two types of spores are produced. Either asexual spores are produced, asexual spores are also found, and also sexual spores are also found. So sexual spores and asexual both are found. So the asexual spores are chlamydospore, acidiospores, uridospores and teleutospores. These all are called as the asexual spore. So these are the asexual spores present in Basidiomycetes. But when we move on to sexual spore where two different hypha mates or two different thallus mate, then they produce sexual reproduction because they don't have sex organs. So as they don't have sex organs, so the mating is by means of two hypha or by two thallus. Suppose this is hypha present. So another hypha comes and go for mating. So this type of mating is called as sexual reproduction, and this type of mating is mostly present in Basidiomycetes because they don't have any sex organs. So either two hypha can mate, or either two thallus can mate, or either two monokaryotic nucleum hypha also can mate. Either two monokaryotic hypha or primary mycelium also can mate, or either any monokaryotic spores can also mate. Any monokaryotic spores also can mate. So there are different forms where two different mycelium hypha or two different thallus or two different monokaryotic spores can unite and they undergo plasmogamy. What is plasmogamy? And plasmogamy is the union of protoplasm. So after plasmogamy, what happens? They form a stage, and this stage is called as dikaryotic stage. And after dikaryotic stage, they go for karyogamy. They go for nucleus fuses, and after nucleus they go for meiosis, and after meiosis they will produce the spore, and this is by sexual means, and these spores are called as sex spores, and the sex spores are called as what? Basidiospores. We'll talk later. Got it? This is how the sexual mode of reproduction do takes place in this particular fungi that is called as Basidiomycetes. So fusion occurs between Basidiospores or any monokaryotic spores, as I told now, or any different hypha, or by any different spore or spermatium, etc. etc. So fusion of two hyphal cells will produce the primary cells of primary mycelium will produce the secondary mycelium having dikaryotic phase. So this time what happened? So after fusion, after karyogamy and meiosis, they produce a club shaped like structure. They produce a club shaped like structure, this like structure. And this club shaped structure is called as Basidia. From Basidia, they produces four different type of stalk that is called as sterigmata. Sterigmata. Got it? And from steric the spores are produced, and these spores are bisexual means, so it is called as Basidiospores. And what happened Basidiospores? Two of them will be of different hypha and other two of different hypha. So four spores are produced, sexual spores are produced, and these four sexual spores are called as Basidiospores. Two is of other hypha, another two is of other hypha. So Basidium commonly produces four meiospore, yes, four meiospore, and they are called as Basidiospores, yes, we have discussed, and they are found outside the body exogenously with the help of a stalk present that is called as the sterigmata. So Basidiospores may also be produced directly on the Basidium. Yes, they in some stage we find that this is the Basidium present. Basidium, from the Basidium direct the spores are produced without any sterigmata. Yes, but mostly maximum production of Basidiospores is with the help of sterigmata, maximum production. Now the fungi may or may not produce fructi because they don't have fruiting body, as we find in ascoscope. Ascos we find fruiting body, but here you don't find any fruiting. Basidiocarps are not present. Mostly they are not present. The basidiocarps vary from microscopic forms to macroscopic if present. If present in some species, then they may vary from very small unit to a bigger structure. Some puffballs and bracket fungi are bigger, 50 centimeter in diameter. So mostly in puffballs and bracket fungi, we find this microscopic basidiocarps or basidiospores carps are found to be present, which is of 50 centimeter in the diameter, is the bigger one, puffballs. Okay, now let's talk about its important character. Important character of this particular Basidiomycetes. Smut is a type of disease, produce thick spores, and this smut is produced by this Basidiomycetes, which the spores are called as smut spores. These smuts are of two types. One smut is covered, another smut is loose, not covered. So covered smut and loose smut, both of them are present and both of them do causes diseases. In covered smut, the spores mass remains within the membranous covering called as sorus. Yes, the covering is called as sorus. But here there is no sorus present. Got it? So smut is a type of spore and smut is a type of Basidiomycetes, and this smut do causes diseases, and they are mostly black colored structure, and these are the resting spores present that do causes diseases on appearance of febrile conditions. Let's talk. And this smut do cause a disease in barley, in corn, and the disease so called is called, the name of the smut is called as Ustilago horridi. Ustilago horridi causes smut of barley. Very important questions. And Ustilago maydis causes smut of corn. So maydis causes smut disease on corn, and horridi causes smut disease on barley. In loose smut, the spores are exposed without any sorus present on it. And the example of smut is Ustilago nuda tritiki. Tritiki stands for wheat. So it is the loose smut of wheat. Avenai. Avenai stands for oat. So loose smut of oat. So Ustilago avenai, Ustilago nuda tritiki are the two smut disease found to be present on the loose smut on wheat and oat. Very important on exam point of view. Next important, mushroom. Mushrooms some are edible, which can be eaten, and some are poisonous and non-edible. And mushroom possesses an umbrella-like structure. Umbrella-like structure. The mushroom they do produce a umbrella-like structure with gills are present here. Gills present. These are the gills present, and the umbrella structure that is called as Basidiocarp, because here it is called as the fruiting bodies. And the most common edible mushroom present is called as Agaricus campestris, is the edible one. Agaricus bisporus, Agaricus or Bulvarilla volvacea, paddy mushrooms, or that is called as Pleurotus osteriatus. So these are the common mushrooms found in the market, commercially used, and these are edible mushrooms. But the toadstools present are poisonous mushroom, and this mushroom looks like the stool of a toad. So how the toadstools looks, the stool of the toad, and these mushrooms look like this, and they're very poisonous mushrooms, and they do release white spores from it. So this is the type, this is the puffball, this one is the puffball, this is the puffball, yes, the bigger one puffball, and this is the agaricus, this is the agaricus, this is the mushroom. Got it? This is the umbrella, this one is the umbrella part, and here is the stalk is present. Within the umbrella, we'll find the gills are present. So Amanita Caesaria, Caesar, as we have Julius Caesar, we have written Julius Caesar. So Julius Caesar, oh Caesar, don't kill me. That is, oh Brutus, don't kill me. So this in Julius Caesar, Caesar was murdered by poisonous mushroom that is called as Amanita Caesari. Amanita Caesari is a poisonous mushroom. Got it? Other toads molecule that is called as Amanita phalloides called as death cup, Amanita muscaria, the fly agaric, and Gyromitra esculenta. These are the different type of poisonous worms. They do contains, that is, cancer causing toxins, and they are very dangerous. They do cause food poisoning and causes death to the organism. Next, move on to rust. Rust is also a type of disease, and rust is due to by rusty pustules present, and this rust is due to the fungi that is called as Puccinia graminis, Puccinia, and this Puccinia graminis triticchi causes black rust in wheat. These three are very important. Got it? Puccinia graminis triticchi causes black rust of wheat. Puccinia glumarium, Puccinia tritiforme causes yellow rust of wheat. Black rust of wheat is caused by this one, and yellow rust of wheat is called as Puccinia glumarium. And Puccinia recondita causes brown rust of wheat. So these three are very important. Yellow rust of wheat, brown rust of wheat, and black rust of wheat. Puccinia is a heterocoelous obligate parasite. What is obligate parasite? Throughout the lifespan, they are parasitic in nature, which complete the life cycle in two different hosts. They are digenic. Digenic means they complete the life cycle in two different hosts. The primary host is wheat. The first host is wheat. And after that, the secondary host is barberry. The secondary host is barberry. This is the primary host and this is the secondary host. Got it clear? Puccinia is a macrocyclic life cycle, and they contain 5 different types of spores present. Asexual spores are found, and the macrocyclic, very bigger one. The spores are uridospores present, that is N plus N, that is dikaryotic spores. Teleutospores, N plus N. Basidiospores, N. It also produces pycniospores. It also produces aciospores on barley leaves. So these 3 spores are produced on wheat, primary host, and these 2 spores are produced on barley leaf and is called as the secondary host. Got it? So total 5 different types of spores are found to be present by this group that is called as Puccinia. Hallucination, that is Psilocybe mexicana, causes hallucination. Got it? And some medicines, hallucination medicines are also extracted from this Pileus mexicana and Basidiomycetes called as sacred mushrooms. And in Mexican or Indians during certain religious ceremonies, these are mostly used. Armillaria. Armillaria is regarded as the largest fungi. So Basidiomycetes armillaria is regarded as the largest mushroom. And Armillaria melea is called as the honey mushroom. The other name of Armillaria melea is called as honey mushroom. Melea is a serious root parasite, very important. It is a root parasite of both hardwoods and conifers, means both for angiosperm, from angiosperms and for gymnosperms. Got it? So this Armillaria melea causes serious root parasitic diseases, means they enter into the root and complete its life cycle within the root, and these are both hardwoods and conifers. These are found in hardwoods and conifers. Normally the fungus develops rhizomorphs, as we have discussed. They develop this root-like structure, and this root-like structure enter into the host cell and absorb food supply from its phloem, blocking its phloem, and absorb all the food supply from the root of the host cell and from the phloem of the host cells. The puff bulbs. Normally the puff bulbs has basidiocarps, and which is stalked rounded structure, as we have already discussed. Upon ripening, the basidiocarp release out the puff or the spores. The fructification may grow above or below the substratum. In the puff bulbs, what happen? Either the basidiocarps will grow above the substratum or they will grow below the substratum. It depends. And the examples of this particular Basidiomycetes, the example of this particular Basidiomycetes is called as Lycopordon oblongisporum or Lycopordon giganteum. Got it? These are the best examples of this particular Basidiomycetes. Bracket fungi is called as the self fungi. As the Basidiomycetes, whose basidiocarps are fructified appear in the tree trunks or lumber or brackets, like brackets or cells-like structures. So on the tree trunk we find this type of bracket or cells, and within we find the fungi present. Here the inside fungi present, outside we find a bracket like structure present, and this type is called as Basidiomycetes, and this is called as the bracket fungi, Basidiocarp fruiting bodies. So this is all about the Basidiomycetes important character, and the example of this particular is called as Phoemis opalanthus, Polyporus sulphureus, and Ganoderma. So stinkhorn is another type of fungi that is called as Phallus imperdicus or dead man's finger. It is called a sting odor where the flies are being attracted. The spore produce, the sting odor attracts the flies. Yes, the spore produce a sting odor, and the stinging odor helps flies attractions, more flies. And the sting horn, as they produce stinging odor, so they are called as stinghorn. And the scientific name is called as Phallus imperdicus. It is sometimes called as dead man's finger. Now let's move into certain practice questions. In assertion reasoning, Basidiomycetes are called club fungi. Yes. The sexual spores Basidiopores are produce clubs. Yes. Both are right. This is the right answer. The second question. Which of the following statement about Basidium is incorrect? The Dikaryophase is dominant. Yes, this is the right one. Sexual reproduction occurs through Basidiospores form Basidia. Yes, this is the right one. Motile cells. No, there is no motile cells. So this is the answer. Third question. Which structure is the site of both Karyogamy and Meiosis in Basidiomycetes? Basidiocarps. This is the right answer. Basidium is the structure. Got it? The fourth question. Which of the following fungi is a heterogeneous obligate parasite company live in two hosts? That is Agaricus, Amantia, Puccinia. So Puccinia is the right answer, just we have discussed. And the honey mushroom, Armillaria melia, is the best known as hallucinatory mushroom, serious root parasite. Yes, this is the serious root parasitic mushroom. This honey mushroom found root parasite on hardwoods and conifers. Yes. Poisonous mushroom producing? No, these are not the questions. So we have discussed some important questions, and you will get ample amount of question about per chapter 1000 plus question in our following site. You can visit this site and get the study materials, and you get the questions, or you can go for online practice, or you can go for online class. If you want to download the PDF, the mind maps, the worksheet, or MCQs, you can go to this particular site, or you can DM me directly to this particular number, or you can get all study materials, all type of materials in our Telegram channel. So this is all about Basidiomycetes. So we have completed today, that is Basidiomycetes. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.